from the bowling capital of the world, America's #1 bowling show. Championship Bowling. From the Firestone Bowl-A-Rama in Akron, Ohio, it's Championship Bowling. I'm Fred Wolf, along with Pat Patterson on my right, Sam Buck, our statistician, here on the left. Another week here in Akron and two more bowling's outstanding professional bowlers in match game competition, shooting for a purse of over $70,000. And Pat, we've got a pretty good one here, and I think quite a contrast in styles, as we like to put it. Billy G from Detroit, the G-Man, and Bill Bunetta, who sits in your seat many times as the commentator, will now be out on the firing line.
It's going to be quite a match, and I'd like to bet on Bill, Fred.
You're picking one real quick?
Yeah.
Oh, Bill and Billy. Pardon me, you almost threw me there.
I can't lose that way. No, we have got quite a contrast in styles. Bunetta throws that cranker-type ball, and Billy G rolls a full roller. So we're going to see two different angles and two different type balls today.
Well, the boys have been working out. We've been watching Billy G out there in that... what is it, Bill? One board, two board? You're way out there, aren't you?
That's right, Freddie. I'm going to bowl a little further right than I normally do. I'm going to try to start the ball into the pins.
You're going to... Well, we don't know if you're going to stay there. You have this... they tell me you have what they call an alternate angle.
Well, I call it a bailout angle.
Bailout?
That's right. If I get into trouble, I tighten up the line and go more direct.
Well, Bill, you've been sitting here as a commentator. I think you know every board on each lane. You ought to have one picked out.
I have one picked out. Whether I can hit it or not is another thing, Fred. My usual curvature, and it's quite a big one, I'm the last of the crankers, I guess, isn't working quite as well as I'd like to, so I'm going to tighten the line.
You're going to tighten the line?
Yes,
I'm going to take a chance.
You're going to throw that frozen, what do you call it?
Frozen rope.
Frozen rope. So it should be interesting, Pat. We'll be right back for the first game of 3 on Championship Bowling from Akron, Ohio, right after this interesting word. It'll be Billy G, the G-Man from Detroit, starting on the left side. All games starting from the left competition, then moving from our right to the left, each bowler bowling 2 complete frames. Billy's high, wide open in the first frame, playing that extreme outside angle. He leaves the 6, 7, 10. And, Pat, you just can't push him up when you're out there.
That's a very touchy angle, Fred. You have to really be confident when you're out there because, as Billy did there, at least a little bit of a push-up on your ball, and you're on the nose.
Settles for the 9 as Bill Bunetta moving in on the right. A couple of Michigan boys here, actually. Bunetta was born in Detroit back in 1919. Billy G is a product of Grand Rapids, now a Detroiter, born in Grand Rapids in 29. Bill with the big crank. He's there. That's the first strike.
There was no doubt about that one, Fred. That was a strike all the way down.
Wound that one up, getting it over the line at least a couple of feet over. So it'll be interesting if Bill can stay as strong as he is right now by the time we get to game number 3. Bunetta out in front in a hurry with a strike. His next assignment, get a double as quick as he can. And he'll be high. Breaks it up. Nothing but the 3-pin.
23 seems to hold back just a little bit when you belly the ball the way Bill does. So everyone always tries to be a little tighter on it. You will go into the nose quite often that way.
At the 3, the cover, Bunetta out in front. The margin, 11 pins at the end of 2 as Billy G moves it in on the right side. Here's a fella has a fine temperament to be a professional bowler. Pat, nothing seems to bother him too much. Happy-go-lucky. And he leaves the 10.
Well, Billy enjoys the game. He's always laughing. Although he's always out there trying as hard as he can. He's a real champion. And he's won quite a few championships, too. 1965 Winter Tour, he had three titles in a row.
At the 10, the cover. So at the end of 2, Billy G is 9. The open in the first frame, and he moves back to the left side, where he left the 6, 7, 10. On the spare, Bunetta on the spare. Billy won over $17,000 on the 65 Winter Tour. 1962, he won $16,000. That's a little better.
That was a beautiful shot there, Fred. He's going just about for that first arrow, and if he hits it, the ball will roll into the pocket. And from that outside angle, he has pretty good carrying power once he gets there.
Careful. Too high. On the nose, and Bunetta almost got away with that one. Leaves nothing but the 6-pin.
Seemed like he cut that one kind of short. Instead of reaching out, his arm came up real fast, and he pulled it right up on the headpin.
Big Bill. A lot of the boys call him Bananas. Bill Bananas. There's the spare, and he moves to the left. On the spare. Billy G is on the strike. $1,000 to the winner. That's out there. 4-pin stops him.
That was a nice ball there, Fred. He thought he had it when he let go. Just a wee bit high. That 4-pin's a hard pin to kick on this pair of lanes. Haven't seen too many of them.
Bill Bunetta, the man who throws the 3 white dots and can count the revolutions. There's the spare. So Bunetta, filling the frames, is 58 spare. Billy G now in the 4th. Chance for the first double of the match. Billy's first opportunity for the double. Bunetta missed his one chance. Hurry up. He doesn't get there. The 1-2-10. That ball seemed to sail.
It was right over the 4th board, Fred, and it never hooked at all.
The 1-2-10. Officially, this is not a split. I always like to feel that the bowler should at least get credit for a split here because it's certainly a tough spare. The AMS spare maker indicating get the ball across between the 1 and the 2. And he almost made it. A pin kicking right from the kickback. Billy G moving left. We're in the 5th. That's got to hurry. He doesn't get enough of the pocket. The 2-4-5-8, the bucket. And I have a hunch that Billy just may be changing that angle here any frame.
He's going to take that bailout angle, I think.
It's not working out. That one sailed just like the last one.
That's a tough angle to play on any condition, Fred. Usually you need a lane that's hooking quite a bit before it's a real good angle.
All right. Very nice cover. So it's a spare for Billy G in the 5th. Bill Bunetta started with a strike. Left a good 4-pin in the 4th frame. 3 and a 6. 1-pin conversions. Trying to get something started. That's way out there. Oh, he brought that one back. The old cranker.
He's getting a lot of fingers in the ball, Fred. He's rolling a wonderful ball today. I think if Bill could get loose, he could shoot a big score.
We're at the end of 5 of the first game. Billy G is 57 spare. Bunetta is 78, and Bill works on a strike. Here's Bunetta's second opportunity for the double. He winds it, sets it, he's there, and there's the big double for Bunetta, the first double of the match. It's the 6th frame for Billy G, the G-Man from the Motor City, the ABC Masters champion twice in '60 and again in 1962. Former Detroit match game champion, 10-pin.
The ball's just not swinging enough from that outside angle there. I got a hunch, just as you have, Fred, that Billy's going to be changing pretty quick.
Billy is averaging 214 for 27 games in appearances on championship bowling. Oh, that one just stayed with him long enough.
Good thing that lane's only 60 feet longer. He'd have had himself a miss. They don't seem to come back too much on that right side unless you really turn it.
You know, many years ago, Pat, on championship bowling, Billy's appeared with us on and off. We didn't have room on the scoreboard for Golembiewski, so we just asked him if G would be all right. That's where it started.
Well, it stayed around a long time and became very famous.
So he's probably saying G right now. Another 1-2-10. That's two of them. He's got to go to that bailout angle pretty soon.
You're right. When you're leaving those things, it's time to move.
Well, he gets too much of the head pin again. That's about the same place that he threw that one. As we look at Bill Bunetta now, our commentator, as he tries for a triple. Well, he's got a double.
And it was an 8-10 split when it hit. It looked like it was coming in strong, but it wasn't the fingers he had in the ball previously.
Oh, that one's snake eyes. Bill will throw this one a little faster in the corner, but he can't kick one out. So Bunetta has his first open, which follows the double. He has a lead now at the end of 7 frames. The margin, 32 pins. Billy G is open with 102. Bunetta open with 134. Big Bill, Willie, Bunetta, the man with the bowling vocabulary. Look at that 8-10, very costly here. Could have been 4.
Just a little bit off that frame before. It cost him a chance for that bonus money there.
Well, Billy's staying outside. Got that one up there. Well, it's been a long time between strikes. Billy had a strike in the 3rd frame, a couple of washouts. He's missed them both. Now a strike in the 8th. Let's see what he can do with it. And you girls that are watching, I mean you married-type housewives, did you ever think of having your own weekday bowling league? Your nearby friendly bowling proprietor will help you set it up. Give him a call. He's listed in the yellow pages. I tell you, bowling is great fun because it makes you feel like you'd like to. Like Billy G feels right now. His first double of the match, still room for bonus money for both boys. As Bunetta moves in on the right side, where he just left an 8-10 on a double. Pat, he's got to be thinking of that.
He went just a little bit wider with that ball. He had more fingers in it, but you get out too far and the ball just won't come back solid. 2-4-5-8, the bucket. And not the easiest spare in the world to shoot at. And there we saw why it isn't so easy, Fred. Chopped the 2 off the 5 there.
Well, that pin, the 8-pin, of course, you don't want to swing too wide with it, even though you can get to the 2-5, as the AMS spare maker indicates. You still have to get the 2-5 tight enough so that the ball will kick out the 8. Thereby, they push it a little high, picking the 2 off the 5. Another open for Bunetta. We're in the 10th. And he kicks one out. Well, Bunetta actually has been around that pocket since the 4th frame, with 2 strikes, an 8-10, another strike, and certainly a bucket isn't too far away. And
it's close enough that you could get a scrambler out of it and have that strike.
Carries his first one in the 10th. He can still come out of here with 190. Hurry up. He doesn't get there, and there's the 2-5.
He laid that one down again at the foul line, more or less, Fred. He more or less threw it into the lane rather than lofting it out there and getting the lift on the ball. This can be a very close match if Billy can come up with another strike. the way Billy G likes money, he might get 3 in a row in a 10th to collect $250. Look out.
Going away for Bunetta, the spare, his game 182. This is the first of 3 games on championship bowling from Akron, Ohio. Both these boys make 2 appearances. Total pinfall for their 6 games will qualify the top 2 men for Championship Bowling's World Series. There we are. That's 3 in a row. And it gives Billy G the lead for the first time.
We're even right now to the pin, Fred. Billy has to strike to go ahead. If he doesn't, he can be 1 or 2 pins down, but it's going to be very close either way.
Still going for bonus money. Oh, 4 in a row for $250. Billy G still playing the outside. He didn't make the change, Pat, like we thought we would. Well, I think he's getting that ball out in front of him beautifully.
I think that 8-10 that Bill left gave Billy a little breathing room there, and he figured he'd stay with it just a little bit longer. Had Bill strike there, I think Billy might have changed.
Well, let's watch him for $250, the last ball of the first game. On the nose, he gets out with 8. Bonus money just too difficult to pick up. For Billy G, it's 190. For Bill Bunetta, 182. Well, after throwing 4 beautiful strikes, the 5th one again presents that $250 problem, Pat.
That 3rd shot in the 10th frame is usually a real free, easy ball to throw, but when $250 is riding on the pitch, you tighten up just a little bit.
I'm going to ask Billy, G boy, 4 in a row. The last one wasn't the same.
Well, I thought I took enough time, but pushed it right up on the nose.
You're in a hurry.
That's right.
How about the 8-10, Bill Bunetta?
Well, it looks like it took something out of me and added something to him. After the 8-10, he had 4 strikes in a row, and I couldn't come out of the ball cleanly. After the 8-10, I tried to roll one a little sooner, and I got the bucket and picked it, so it did have somewhat of an effect on my ball.
Oh, you've been talking a lot about the bucket up here, Bill. It is a dangerous spare, and Pat mentioned the fact that here's a real tough one, and you were trying to get the 8 out and, of course, pick the 2 off the 5. Well, there's 2 games to go. We expect you boys to really come bouncing back here on Championship Bowling from Akron, Ohio, the home of Firestone. Bill Bunetta will start the second game. Bill trailing by 12 pins. Billy G, 190. Bunetta, 182. Up and at him. Then carries all but the 7th.
He got that one out over the foul line, Fred. It looked like he was going to get a scrambler out of it, but sometimes that 7-pin wants to stand, and this was one of them.
Bunetta with a spare. In the first frame, Billy G moves in on the right side. Billy G, 190. Bunetta, 182. Correct that. 8 pins. 8-pin advantage for Billy G. Getting 8 on that one looked like it was way out the window out there on icy street.
He was a little fast getting up there that time, Fred, and as soon as he got there, he knew it, too. That ball was gone the minute it left his hand. Got a good break, though. Just the 1-2. Easy spare. He didn't pick that the way the spare maker shows it, but...
No, I noticed, too, that on the spare, that could have been a little experiment there, Pat. He wasn't as far outside on that 1-2 as he was for his first ball.
You'll find a lot of time, Fred, that bowlers will experiment. If they leave a 5-pin, they'll try a different strike angle. A lot of times they'll miss the 5-pin by experimenting like that.
Looked like another washout coming up. Looked like possibly then the 2 and the 10, but Billy got out very well, leaving nothing but the 2-pin. A 9-pin count. We're in the second frame of the second game. Championship Bowling from Akron, Ohio, where week after week you see the world's greatest professional bowlers competing for a prize fund of some $70,000. And don't forget Championship Bowling's World Series. The two top scorers for their two appearances will be joined by the National All-Star champion Dick Weber and Billy Hardwick, the Firestone Tournament of Champions winner in the World Series. Bunetta on the nose, 4-6.
That nose is a good place to stay away from, Fred. There's been a lot of splits on nose hits, which actually there should be. Too many times you get strikes on nose hits and it don't seem fair. The guy that hits the pocket solid leaves a 10-pin, and another guy comes along and punches the nose for a strike.
So Bunetta is open in the second, 18-27. We go into the third frame. That's the sixth split of the match. Bunetta has had 2. Billy G has had 4.
Bill's put on a little show for us here with that one. That was a good ball. He got that that light one, knocked him around.
We're in the third. Back on the outside. Billy G. Big lift. Beautiful
There was
lift.
a beauty. Yes, it was. A thing of beauty.
Billy throwing the, well, I used to call the old Sarge Ed Easter grip. He has a fingertip in his first finger and a conventional grip in the middle finger. He's got it. Solid 10.
Yes, Billy has thrown that grip as long as I've known him, Fred, ever since he's come up to be one of the top bowlers. It's a real easy grip to throw. It's a real good grip for the full roller type ball to throw because it gets a lot of middle finger in it that way.
Covers a 10-pin. So for Billy G, 59. With a spare in the fourth, Bunetta on a strike. Let's take a look at Bill Pat in slow motion. There we go again. Another splasher. That looks like the old Dick Weber ball. They like to call that the Dick Weber, but anytime a guy kicks out the 5-7, they say that's a Dick Weber ball. Whether Dick would appreciate that or not.
Well, I think he would, really. I wish somebody wanted to throw the type ball I throw. I think that shows that you must throw the right kind of ball when they want to throw the type that you throw.
We're in the fifth. We're almost halfway. Bill Bunetta is high. The 3 and the 6.
After 2 skinny ones, he wanted to get a little more full, and he pulled that one.
On championship bowling, Bunetta is averaging 211 for 30 games. His high series has been 696. There's the cover of the 3-6 in the fifth for Bunetta, stopping at 2, as Billy G will try to get it started again. He had a strike here in the third, left a solid 10-pin in the fourth. We're in the fifth. Doesn't make it. The 2, the 5, and the 7.
You see that split quite often for right-handers, Fred, but it's actually a funny split to leave on that real thin hit. That's the only way you can leave it is on a thin hit. But you get just the right amount of action to knock enough pins down to leave a little hole between the 2 and the 7.
The AMF Sparemaker indicating the ball between the 2 and the 7, going to the left of the 5-pin. And Billy did not do it. He covered the 2-5. The interesting point here is, where do you think he was shooting, Pat, really?
I don't think he believes in signs, maybe. I really think he was shooting to go between them, but his ball isn't hooking the way he would like it to hook, and he's always a little skinny.
At the end of 5, Billy G, 76 spare, Bunetta, 75 spare.
There's no spare to shoot at that time, Fred. There was another beauty.
We're in the second half as Billy G tries to get it started again. A strike in the 6th. Bunetta now in the 6th. Bill will bowl 2 complete frames. Big wind. Too high. That ball moving much more on the right side than on the left side.
Yes, 24 seems to hook quite a bit more. Bill's trying to cut that hook down, but it seems a little difficult for him to do it.
On the outside, Bunetta with a spare. We go into the seventh. Billy G leading by 3 pins here in the second game. He won the first game by 8 pins. The margin, 11 pins in the 7th frame of the second game. Billy G, the G-man from Detroit. Bill Bunetta, former Detroiter from Fresno, California. Big Bill, hurry up. Too high, the 4-9.
Bill thought he had a chance on that one. He was pushing the ball to try to keep a little lighter, but it looked like it was rolling pretty good when it hit. But there's that 4-9. We've seen a bunch of those.
Give it a
Got
try.
a chance.
All right. Great shot by Bill Bunetta in the 7th frame. So for Bunetta, it's 111 with a spare in the 7th as Billy G moves in the 7th. Billy working on a strike. Too high. 4, 7, 9, 10, and there's life for Bunetta.
I think we might set some kind of record here today, Fred, with all these splits. Seems like every pitch that's not a strike is a split.
Well, we're going to give Billy G 2 splits on his 2 washouts. Unofficially, we'll do that. I'm sure the bowlers around the country will say that a 1-2-10 is not a split. So, whatever you prefer. So Billy G open here in the 7th. It gives him 114, 122, an 8-pin count, 18 and 8. So the counts are about even. And the match is just about even as Billy G moves to the left. You know, the purchase of savings bonds is one of the significant contributions which Americans can make to the economic welfare and security of this country. Buy United States savings bonds. Here's another one.
And this is no easy split here, Fred. The 3, 9, 10. Now, we see the 3-10 many times, but you put that 9-pin back here and it makes it about twice as hard.
Well, this is a total of 8 splits and 2 washouts.
He's
Little
going
more. Beautiful shot for just like threading a needle. Picture shot. The ball actually hitting all 3 pins. We're in the 8th for Bunetta. Dig it. All right, he kicked that 10 out. So at the end of 8 frames, another close one here in Akron, Ohio.
It was a big ball for Bill there, Fred. That gives him the lead by 1 pin now, and he's on a strike to Billy's spare, so he can increase that lead by 10 more should he strike here.
No.
And another split.
Well, Bill just left the 4-9 there in the 7th, comes right back in the 9th, and goes in a little deeper, and he looks at the 6, 7, 10. So the boys are playing palmsies here, giving it back to each other. One time.
Hey.
He gave it quite a try.
Yes, he did. That was looked like a good shot going there for a second.
Bunetta open in the 9th, 157. So Billy G, with a fill here, can take the lead back. Billy was trailing actually by 1 pin going into the 9th. He doesn't get there, almost another washout.
He just did get that 10 pin out of there. Leaves himself the 1-2 spare. Let's see if he hits this spare in the pocket this time or if he crosses over the way the spare maker shows. He moved in that time, went right straight down the second arrow, and that ball went right in the pocket. Got a hunch he may be there the next time on that lane.
Billy G. from Detroit now moves left. We're in the 10th frame of the second game. A close match, $1,000 to the winner, $500 to the runner-up. The two appearances that each of these boys make, total pins, along with our field of 24 of the greatest professional bowlers in the game today, will qualify our 4 finalists for Championship Bowling's World Series. The 2 top scorers will be joined by the National All-Star champion Dick Weber, the Firestone Open Tournament of Champions winner Billy Hardwick. Over the last 4 weeks here from the Firestone Bowl-A-Rama in Akron, Ohio, the 2, 4, 5, 8, Billy G. covers the spare in the 10th. The count will give him 176.
We've got a real close game here, Fred. By Billy getting that 6-pin count there, Bunetta took the lead now in this game by 1 pin with 157 in the 9th. So he can possibly beat Billy by 11 should he strike it out here on lane 24 in the 10th. Looked like he moved farther to the right that time. That ball was almost laid down in the gutter, but it ended up solid in the pocket.
Too high for Bunetta.
Ball looks like it's going to end up in the pocket, and just at the last minute he gets that extra little bit of hook there, and he's on the nose consistently. Got a break that time and broke up the split. 4-7 spare. He moves to the right.
Oh, he got a little careless with that one, so Bunetta now has the miss in the 10th for 166. For Billy G, 176. So the margin is 18 pins. Billy G winning both the first and the second game. And I promised to ask Billy G, when he shot at the 257 in this game, whether he was shooting it from the right side or were you trying to go between the 2 and the 7? We were a little undecided, Bill, on that shot.
Well, actually, Freddie, I always play that on the outside.
You really do?
If I hit it light, I figure I'll get it off the sideboard. Not only that, my ball doesn't break enough, actually, to get over there. As I pull it.
You do shoot it from the right side. You shoot to cover the 2-5.
That's right.
And the AMS spare maker indicates between the 2 and the 7. You feel it's easier on the other side. Very interesting.
Well, I feel you've got 2 shots at it over there, off the sideboard or into the pin.
Now, Bill, when you shoot at the 4-7, what do you look at?
Well, that was a test shot. I felt maybe I wasn't rolling the ball properly, so I say, well, it's an easy spare. I'll just let up and see how the ball rolls. It rolled all right.
Well, Pat was bringing it up a little earlier. He said that a lot of you boys, when you have these test shots or experimental shots or a different angle, that you shoot at a spare, even the 5-pin or the 1-2, many times you miss these spares because you are trying something.
That's exactly what I did. I figured maybe I'm a little too crisp. I could just let up and see how the ball rolls.
We felt that Billy G did this a couple of times on the 1-2 over here. Didn't you change your little angle a couple of times on the 1-2 spare?
Shooting at the spare, you mean,
yes.
Freddie? Yes, I moved in and tried to go direct and let the ball roll. This is how we miss them, you're right.
You're going to try this now on your strike shot? Do you feel you found out anything by doing it?
Well, I think I'm going to move out a little further and see.
You're going to go the other way. Well, that's a bowler. He's got to figure these things out. Good luck to you. With the third game coming up, stand by. This is Fred Wolf along with Pat Patterson. We're in Akron, Ohio, the home of the Professional Bowlers Association. Billy G starting off the third game from the extreme outside. Going around the first diamond. He kicks that 4 out beautifully. Oh, he's really out there now, Pat.
He sure is. If he'd laid that ball down at the foul line, he'd probably be in the gutter with it. Pardon me, Fred, the channel.
Shall we say channel, yes. Big Bill Bunetta, who's been cranking them, strapping them. Now, there we are. He was checking his hand position on that shot, Pat, in comparison to what he has been doing on the right. His hand went straight up, arm went straight up, where he has been crossing, which, of course, is the pull shot.
Right, he looked like he tried to roll that one a little more, as he said. He also looked like he was a little bit more to left at the foul line than he had been.
Now, all right, that's 2 for
That
Bunetta.
little break, Fred, gets a 5-7 off the wall, and he's got a double.
Billy G now, moving in on the right side where Billy's having his problems. He's going to go to the extreme corner, probably going to play 1 board or a board and a half, splitting the first diamond and the channel. And look at that. Boy, there was some great action.
That ball, when he laid it down at the foul line, or when he lofted it over the foul line slightly, it was about between the first and second board. And at the arrows, it was right about the first arrow. So he had a pretty good line going from right to left into the pocket.
Hold that ball. Beautiful. He's a little outside of the first diamond on the left, Pat.
Seems like 23, although it's a little slicker for the bowlers that are playing it in a little bit. It comes a little bit better for Bill when he plays that outside line there.
Billy G with 3. Bunetta tries for 3. On 2. Hold that line. On the nose, 4, 6, 10. Wide open. You cannot make a mistake on the right side.
Well, Bill's ball is really hooking on 24. He's having a lot of trouble keeping it off the head pin. It seems like every time he hits the nose, he's got a split. And I would say now, Fred, he's really in trouble. It's Billy with a turkey. About 35 pins down this game.
Big Bill moving left. Another open. And it has had 5 splits. There's another nice break. 1 mistake between 4 strikes can make quite a difference. Billy G now moves in right side. He missed his opportunity in the first game. He had 4 in a row going out. He got his first 2 in the 10th. Had 1 in the 8th and 9th. Couldn't get the 5th one. Dig that thing. And the 10-pin stops him.
He was outside the first arrow that time now, Fred. He was about the 4th board. Had he been on the first arrow, he would have probably been solid in the pocket and carried that 10-pin.
Recover by Billy G in the 4th. That gives him 79. Spare in the 4th. Bunetta is 55. Strike in the 4th.
He compensated for his light 10-pin on 24 by pointing it up more on 23, which is a very bad thing to do, but a lot of us bowlers do that. You'll make a mistake on one alley and compensate for it on the next lane.
Nice cover. The 3, 6, 10 for Billy G in the 5th. 96 spare. Bunetta needs this double. He started with 2. The 4, 6, 10. Here in the 3rd, he's back in the 5th. On a strike again. He's got to get that one out. Oh, he does. And he shakes one up. So at the end of 5. 5 frames to go. Bill Bunetta is 55, and he's working on a double. 55 in the 3rd. Works on 2 strikes. Billy G is 96 in the 4th. He has a spare in the 5th. 6th frame. 1 more. Up there, and Bunetta makes it 3. So Billy now very much back in this match. Let's watch Billy G in slow motion. Well, it looked like he was picking lilacs there, Pat, keeping his arms straight up.
You can tell when Billy G's rolling the ball good, Fred. His thumb, he throws the full roller, which means the hand turns in a clockwise twist as he releases the ball, and his thumb is sticking straight up to the ceiling when he finishes if he gets out of the ball correctly.
pins. Looked pretty good, but he was just a little left of the mark that we've been watching, that first diamond. On the left side, he's got to go a little around the first diamond. On the right side, he's been splitting the first diamond, starting the ball, actually, Pat, would you say about 1 or 2 boards from the channel at the foul line?
That's right, Fred. He's about 1 or 2 on lane 24 and lane 23. Just a little bit of point up at the arrow.
There's the cover, and Bunetta now senses that $1,000 might just as well go back to Fresno, California. It's another close one. We're in the 7th. Bunetta is on 3. He's got it out there. Here it comes. He's there, and that's 4 in a row. As Big Bill now clenches that fist, wearing that bowler's glove. I think he broke the seam on that one, Pat. And he gets into position for bonus money. And Bill, who has been sitting back here with us many of these matches, now is on the other end as he watches you boys when you get 4 in a row, unable to get the 5th. Let's see if he can do it. $250. One time.
It looked to me, Fred, like he eased up just a little bit on that shot. He never came through and threw the ball quite as hard as he was before. $250 isn't a whole lot of money, but boy, when you're looking for that one extra strike to get it, it sure seems like it tightens you up.
A 4-9 on what we would call a tight hit. Bill Bunetta will take a shot and just goes by the 4-9, and that'll make it difficult for Bunetta to pull this one out. A carry there, even a spare, would have really kept him in this game. As Billy G moves in the 8th, he'll try to fill the frame to get himself back in a comfortable position with just 2 frames to go. And he does that very thing. A beautiful, solid pocket hit deep in the 1-3.
Takes a lot of intestinal fortitude for him to play that angle. Because if he's off just a hair either way, he's a long way from that pocket.
Still room for bonus money for Billy G. All right, still room. This is the same position he was in the first game. Going to the right side exactly as he did in the first game. On 2, he got the first 2 in the 10th for 4 in a row, but missed on the $250 shot as Bunetta just did in the 8th. Bill is back in the 1-3 pocket, leaves the 10-pin, that 6-pin going right around it. Didn't even touch it.
He threw a beautiful ball there, Fred. I think that was one of Bill's better pitches of the match, and he comes up with a solid 10. He got that ball out good. He had a good turn, a good line, a good solid hit, and he shoots for the 10-pin.
He's got it. Well, he wasn't too sure of that one.
I think he stuck just a little bit up there at the foul line and pulled just a little.
Say, I wonder if you've ever had a game called on account of rain. Well, I'll tell you, it wasn't a game of bowling, because weather just can't affect your game or fun. That's why bowling has become America's #1 participant sport. It has everything. Bunetta with 9 in the 10th. Billy working on the spare. You don't have to get a lot of expensive equipment when you bowl. Keeps you fit, exercises all major muscles in a light and easy way. Haven't you tried bowling yet? Come on, enjoy this sport anytime, any day, weather or not, because bowling makes you feel like you'd like to. In the 10th, Bunetta with the count, 208, with a 4-bagger, a double, and 2 splits, and Bill has lost 12 pins in count. Once more, and he gets the count to 208.
A 4-bagger and a double in one game sure sounds like more than 208.
Yes, he counted 7 on his double with an open. He counted 8 on his 4-bagger and an open. No bonus money this week as Billy G is in that 1-3 pocket like a robber and cannot carry the 3rd strike. Chance for 220. The difference in this game, Pat, is that Billy G kept filling the frames, Bunetta with 2 opens. Billy has had a triple and a double. Bunetta had a 4-bagger and a double. Billy G can win the game by some 17 pins.
This is very important, Fred, to fill that frame. When you don't strike, that spare is a big thing. To win money, you have to get a lot of strikes, but every time you got an open, that's another double you have to get to make up for it.
Too high, leaving the 4-7 for Billy G from Detroit, 223 for Bill Bunetta from Fresno, California, 208. We'll check the totals and the presentations. Be right back here on Championship Bowling from Akron, Ohio, where the World Series of Golf is played annually. Here are the final results for Bill Bunetta: 182, 166, 208. His total is 556. For Billy G, 190, 176. The big finish, 223, 589. The winner, Billy G over Billy Bunetta. Did you enjoy this one, ladies and gentlemen? Well, Pat, it seemed to be a battle of open frames. Billy G having 5 splits and 2 washouts, and Bunetta with 6 splits.
I think we got some kind of a record there, Fred. We'll have to check in the record books. 11 splits is a lot of splits. Billy G also had 2 washouts.
Yes, that's
which
what we
is
mentioned.
very close to a split. I see on the scoreboard Bill Bunetta outstruck Billy G, 15 to 14. That's a lot of strikes to just shoot 556.
15 strikes, and your opponent gets 14 strikes, and you lose the match by 33 pins. We'll have to talk to Bill about that. See, maybe we didn't keep the score correctly or something.
Well, that 208 game at the end there, as we said,
Yeah,
with
it was a good
a
example.
4-bagger and a double, it shows a couple opens and a couple bad counts. You can lose a lot of pins.
Now, how do you feel about the outside angle that Billy G here showed us this week? You think some of the other boys might try this, or is this something Billy does?
I doubt it very much, Fred. It's not the easiest angle in the world to play. Billy, as he said, he had a bailout angle, so the bailout angle mustn't have been any better than his outside angle, really. He was just out there throwing the ball into the pocket.
Well, thanks a lot, Pat. Pat Patterson, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you can join us again sometime.
I hope so, too, Fred.
Good luck here. Well, let's bring them out here, the boys that were battling it out for the $1,000. Let's bring them both out, Bill Bunetta and Billy G. Gentlemen. Bill, we'll start with you. $500 is the runner-up. And as a bowling commentator, what have you got to say for yourself? How would you review your performance?
Well, I hate to put it on the air.
You'd hate to put it on the air.
Actually, I was trying to shot this little foreign to me, trying to keep the line a little tighter. But each time I gave the ball a little lift, it seemed like it hooked too early. I hit the nose, and I didn't break up one split. I'm not crying about it. That's just what happened. And then when I had a chance for the bonus money, plus a chance to add pins, I figured, well, let it go. And apparently I didn't, because the 4-9 was the end result. The ball felt pretty good. All I tried to do was give it a little bit of room and lift it hard. And apparently I lifted it too hard.
We didn't see the phrase you use quite often, the frozen rope. The rope was sort of bent a little bit there.
Yeah, it's kind of buckled.
Kind of buckled. Well, Billy, as the winner, here's your $1,000. Take that back to Detroit. I got to ask you another question, because we were talking about the 2-7. We'll forget the 5 pin right now. When we talk 2-7, that's the baby split on the other side. And you are a firm believer in that shot should be made from the right side, hitting the 2-pin right.
Yes, Freddie, because if you played it to the left, the 2-pin would be more than likely liable to be hit too lightly and go in front of the 5.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I feel that you've got a better chance off the sideboard.
In other words, you've got a 2-way. It might hit the 7 directly, or it might go to off the sideboard.
Right.
A two-way. A 2-way shot at the 2-7. Well, you might think about that. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Billy Golembiewski from Detroit. Good luck.
Yep.
And Big Bill, see you again. Repeating the totals, Billy G, 589, the winner over Bill Bunetta with 556. Sure hope you can join us again next week here at the Firestone Bowl-A-Rama in Akron, Ohio, when we'll have 2 more bowling's top professional stars in a 3-game match competing for a purse of some $70,000. So speaking for Pat Patterson and myself, this is Fred Wolf. Just keep 'em bowling out there. It's great fun, and I'll tell you why. Because bowling makes you feel like you'd like to. matching shirts and slacks used on championship bowling by King Louie. Championship bowling is sanctioned by the American Bowling Congress, and we wish to thank AMF for their cooperation in helping us produce championship bowling.